Last year among the running backs, Jamal Morrow had the most prominent role. What allowed him to be able to do that as a redshirt freshman?
Versatile. You know, he does a pretty decent job at all three things. He's a decent blocker. He's a decent ball carrier. He's decent at catching out of the backfield. Probably overall, I can single strengths. I think the other two backs in some areas have single strengths that are stronger, but just as far as overall, you know, doing all three phases, he's probably got the best overall game. I think Wicks and Harrington at times rush it better than he does. Harrington catches it as well as he does. You know, Wicks, if he decides to block, blocks real well. But, you know, he's a work in progress there too. But he's very physical.
Those three guys all do seem to really root for each other, and coaches have talked about how good their attitude is. Do you, when you're recruiting with the intention of having multiple guys, do you have to sort of recruit for attitude?
Yeah, but if one of them truly separated themselves and did it completely, I mean, he would elevate his number of reps. I mean, he'd get more reps, and you know, the people he's ahead of would be behind him. Now they kind of play roles.
Is there something about a running back who kind of understands the virtue of what they can do in the air raid and isn't just kind of fixated on being in a traditional power back offense that maybe kind of lends them to having a good kind of cerebral approach to the game?
Well, I don't know. I don't know what's, you know, it's difficult to say what's traditional now. Football's been in transition for 10 years. You know, at the next level, with rare exception, they do all three things, and most of college does too. But this deal where all of a sudden a guy just carries it, doesn't have to block, I mean, that's been outdated for quite some time. And then, of course, we throw it more than some do.
Mike, is Luke one of the better guys you've had in terms of just getting the ball and getting rid of it without worrying about where the laces are?
No. I had one guy. He's probably 6 feet tall. A guy named Cody Hodges. He had size 16 feet. His hands matched his feet. And I don't know how big they were. They were just gigantic. And he used to catch it with one hand. And I mean, he would catch the ball with one hand and just grip it and throw it. And he had monstrously huge hands. But I didn't like it at first either. I didn't like it at first because I was afraid he was going to put one on the ground. He's an all-state basketball player too, even though he's a short guy. But he just, and I mean just one hand. I mean, that thing would come in spinning. And so he does some good things, but it's not quite like that. He doesn't.
Have all your guys had that ability, though?
I don't like when they don't put two hands on it, but the thing is, he was sure enough with it that after a while I left him alone, and he never did drop one, you know. And that was an exception, and that's kind of an exception that's extremely unlikely to be tolerated here.
How common is it elsewhere for guys to be able to throw it without worrying about the laces?
I think it's a little uncommon. It's handy on screens and things you're getting out there real quick. I don't know that Halliday always had the laces because he was as quick at getting off something as anybody, but it's handy on that. If you're further downfield, you know, typically they grab the laces.
Pat Porter's not on the roster anymore. Is it fair to say that he's left the team?
Yeah, that's fair to say.
Okay, good with Coach?